just before we get into the game, just want to, publicly say that I'm very appreciative of the young men that I have the privilege to coach every single day. There are some real stories in that locker room of young men who have endured a lot, overcame a lot. Some hard lessons, hard journeys. Not just on the football field, in their own personal lives, and they just continue to surprise me with the resilience that they have, the toughness that they have in spots, and the willing to learn. Was every battle won? No. I just give credit to that coaching staff that has fought to really leave an impact on these young men's lives. And we want to win football games, and most importantly, we want to win lives. And I really do like the direction that we are headed in that respect, with the mindset of the guys who are leaving, the guys that are returning, this coaching staff who stays in the fight with these individuals through their tough times, and just a locker room full of a bunch of resilient young men and coaches and supporting staff. As for the game, offensively, we put up a lot of yards, just a lot of non-productive drives, just getting the ball in the end zone. Not as much as we needed to. Obviously, there were some self-inflicted things there offensively. 2 false starts, not a good deal. We throw the 1 interception in the red zone. It's tough to overcome those things. I thought there were a couple of calls that could have went our way that didn't take place in the throw game, but that's neither here nor there. Can't really prove that to be, a problem for the end result. But we just could have done a whole lot better that way. I did some aggressive 4-down calls in the course of that game, just knowing what Memphis could put out there from a production in their offense. And there's one time I really put my defense in a tough situation where they found a way to hold them to a field goal, which again is another example of the resilience. But defensively, I thought we could have played better. Obviously gave some tough, explosive plays away, especially in that second half. Them running the ball on us a little bit. But no, just back to my group of guys, just they didn't quit. To the last touchdown, they just didn't quit. And very proud of them. What they've experienced here on the football field and off the football field, and at this university is going to prepare them for whatever it is they're looking forward to in life. This university has prepared these young men. This program has prepared these young men. For my seniors, like I told you last week, they're a hot commodity. Just a bunch of resilient young men, and I can't wait to see what's next for them in their life. What you got?
So saying right on paper, 3-9 last year, 3-9 this year. Where was the progress within those numbers?
Well, this year I just never experienced, and I told my guys, I just feel like sometimes I feel like you guys can't really, don't want to really acknowledge the truth, but I've never been around a injury-stricken football team as we were this year. For guys that have to step up. Our freshmen played a lot of guys, freshmen just dealing with a lot of adversity that way. The devil's in the details. This is I think a much more resilient football team than it was a year ago. The record's just not telling you, what you want to hear. I know you're based on results. The end result is what you see, and but behind those closed doors, there's something that's developing that's special. And I can't wait to expose it to you. We just got to go to work this off season and continue to develop our young talent, and we had to do a good job of recruiting, fill some voids. We're losing some good football players, some good people, and we just got to continue to put the pieces to the puzzle together.
Now, you talk about injuries, but you were without both your safeties today. How did you think your back end kind of handled that?
It was tough. We had a really good quarterback we were facing today. They took advantage of us down the field. Got a couple of PIs, that didn't help us. We missed some tackles in the run game, Then there's times where they knuckled up and did their job, So I have to go and really assess that. But, obviously it wasn't good enough, right? So.
Do you look at the are you going to examine the off-season conditioning in terms of injuries, or was this a bad luck streak of?
We're going to assess everything every year. It's hard to sit there and say, with the amount of bone fractures that we had this year, that you can be in better condition. What we found so far in the short assessment is a lot of our injuries have been contact injuries. A lot of bone fractures in foot, ankles, legs, things of that sort. So we'll assess it all. But we'll have to be real about it too. It's easy to point the finger. Again, this is, the end result, their injuries. Okay, take a look at, we have to be realistic. I have to be realistic and make sure that people who are assessing this with me is realistic and what's really going on, and assess it.
What are your thoughts on, EJ broke a lot of records today for Temple, the passing touchdowns and the yards. Just assess what you've seen from him these last 2 seasons.
He's one hell of a football player who's just got so much upside still ahead of him. I think he's starting to grow some hair on his chest and become a lot more assertive with his football team and demanding and commanding of his teammates. And I think as he continues to do that, all with the respect already in place, he's going to elevate the level of play. He's got some, it's an opportunity for a young football team to grab a hold of a potentially young group of tight ends and receivers that he's going to really have to take ownership of. And I think now that more than ever, he's ready to do that. So I'm excited about his future.
What did you think from Hubbard's performance today? He had that big touchdown for the opening drive, a couple other runs that broke out for big yards.
I think Hubbard has been steadily getting better and better over the last half of the season, to be quite honest with you. You start to see the timing behind the scheme, and you got to give credit to the offensive line. I mean, that is something that has been, a shuffling of the deck of people, of personnel. And he has found a way to make guys with less experience right with his patience and vision and his ability to anticipate and break tackles. And I think that's something that over the last 2 weeks in particular has gotten better and better. I mean, I see the growth happening, and it's not just happening with him, it's happening with Edward Sadie as well, and I see a young Joe Quez who gets into the ball game, who would normally bite the false holes or the false vision, and he's really patient and allowing our offensive linemen to establish blocks and come off of double teams and things of that sort. So, I think it's a combination of our offensive line getting better, and those backs developing the patience that they need to have to be really good backs. So, yes, that's something that I'm really happy for.
Ahmad was one of those guys that had a foot injury earlier in the year, had a big game today, a couple touchdowns. What did you see from him for him to be successful?
Well, he was potentially playing his last football game, and I think he was highly motivated, after missing, last week's game, and, realizing that opportunities aren't guaranteed. And, I think he took advantage of this opportunity today, to put out a really good performance.
It gets into, off-season gets into roster management now for you, for a team. How do you gotta, are you asking guys in a week, in 2 weeks? How soon do people have to make decisions on next year, whether it be guys who might have an extra year that can come back, how quickly you need them to decide, and guys who are thinking portal and so forth?
Yeah, we got a prepare for those things. The guys that have eligibility left, we're gonna have those conversations. A lot of those conversations have already started. You know, we got some guys that are trying to make the decision whether they're going to declare to the draft or not. You know, that happens in January. You know, we have a portal window in December. You know, so you know all that starts sooner than later for sure. You know, and it's got to be some real conversation. We got to gather some information. We want the best for our individuals, for our teammates, and our players. Excuse me, but you know, especially those who are having an opportunity to maybe, you know, play in that league. You know, some guys are coming off injuries and have to really get a draft grade in that respect to see if it's the right thing to do. You know, and you know, some guys are going to be evaluated if this is something that they want to do. You know, so it's pretty fluid right now. But that conversation, in a lot of cases, has already happened, and we have to continue that next week for sure.
Yeah, could you kind of particularly get into any part of what that discussion, what the sort of parameters of that discussion are with Jordan and Evandy?
No, we've you know, we're gonna see. He just had surgery, you know, and we're gonna wait and see what that looks like. And you know, obviously with Jordan, for sure, he's gonna, you know, assess the opportunity to play at the next level and get a draft grade. And you know, he's got 3 options. You know, to declare that or come back or see what's out there. To be quite honest with you, you know. So, you know, we're hoping that you know that he makes the right decision. We're hoping the best for him and all of that, you know, and we're going to help him by gathering information, you know, to help him make a business decision in that respect. So.
Do your guys with single digits, they carry them into the spring, and then it's re-earning that, you know, how that sort of gets carried into the spring and beyond?
Yeah, you know, the single digit guys that were voted single digits, they're single digits, and you know, we've you know, you can lose a single digit too now. You know, it's not like it's you know, guaranteed to you every single year, or you can continue to enhance it. You know, but if you start to lose the essence of what it means, then that's not something that's going to be guaranteed to you. You have to continue to grow with that honor, right? And so the guys like the Jalen McMurrays and the Jordan McGee's, who are 2-year single-digit guys, have continued to enhance what that really means, you know, on the field and off the field. So.
With the offensive line, I mean, since you've been here, you've only had like a handful of games where you've had consistency game to game with who's the 5 starters. Can you just talk about how it's tough been for you the last 2 years, not basically having the same combinations every game?
Yeah, it's one of the toughest things I've been a part of. You know, I mean, it starts right there. You know, just so you know, that's the trenches is where it starts. That's where your leadership should start. That's where you build your program around that in the quarterback position. First coming here, a lot of these guys have had to go right into the off season with some postseason surgeries and things of that sort, and you got to go and hit the recruiting circuit and build some depth, and when you're having a tough time keeping them healthy, it makes it tough on you. I don't know how to express that further, but in spite of all of that, the positive to it all is, we've had some young guys that have had to step up and play, and they've gotten some game experience, and got thrown into the fire and had to execute at a high level earlier in their careers, and these are things that'll pay off for the program later, right? So we're gonna always live in the positive, and in reality, you gotta go try to build some depth in those positions, both O-line and D-line. That's top priority for us as we go into this off season. So we got to develop the ones that we have. We got some really good football players that are young, and they just need to, be in the program for a full off season, a winter, a spring, a summer, and we haven't had that luxury, with some of our high school guys, which are going to be good football players, which is the reason why I'm so excited about it. I can't wait to get to the off season.
Are you assessing any potential changes with your coaching staff as the same way you're assessing everything else?
Everything's being assessed.